Hi, my name's David Adams, and welcome to another episode of Thursday Throwdown. I have just gotten back from seeing the Captain Marvel film, and I am excited to talk about it today. In Captain Marvel, Brie Larson plays Carol Danvers, a woman looking for her past, as well as an explanation to the strange powers she has that sets her apart among her peers. She is sent on a mission where she crash lands to Earth and comes into contact with a very young and highly CGI'd Samuel L. Jackson reprising his role of Nick Fury, and an even younger and even more highly CGI'd Clark Gregg reprising his role as Agent Coulson. As Carol tries to accomplish her mission on Earth, she finds that her mission and her past are strangely entwined. As she tries to accomplish her goals, she slowly uncovers the secrets of who she is. As she progresses, she also comes to a greater understanding of her powers and how to use them better, bringing together a fuller sense of herself. Ultimately, the movie lands us with the fully fledged Captain Marvel character, ready to take on the universe and ready to come and save the remaining characters of the now somewhat dusty Marvel universe. All in time for Avengers Endgame, which, can I say, it's very exciting. It's very exciting. If I was to summarize my overall feeling of the film, I would say that Captain Marvel is a stellar superhero film, but because of some editing choices, maybe some story choices, leaves it feeling a little underpowered. Now, that said, I would strongly recommend seeing this film. I had a lot of fun watching it, and I'm going to explain some of that, but overall, this is a great film, and I would happily go back and rewatch it anytime soon. So let's talk about some of the things that make it good. Let's start with Brie Larson. I really think Brie did a great job in the role. She brought strength, she brought emotion, she brought sensitivity as well as power, and just everything you want in a fully developed character. Someone who's not just completely two-dimensional, and just made for a really great character to watch on screen. She's a very compelling performance, and I'm looking forward to seeing her in Endgame now. Following on from that, I have to say it was a great lot of fun seeing Samuel L. Jackson interacting with Brie on screen. I think together the two of them bounced off each other really well. There was some really fun, enjoyable moments to be had. There's a lot to just go in there and have a lot of fun, a lot of laughs, and just take away a really nice, good, quality Marvel film. Story-wise, I'd have to say that the first act is really engaging and engrossing and draws you into the film really well. It starts off in outer space on alien worlds, and the world creating that they do, the designers, whoever they were, brilliant job creatively of pulling that together. In fact, I would say that it was my favorite part of the film. That first act, that first third of the film, just being out there in outer space. I guess it's part of my appeal of why I love Guardians of the Galaxy, is I just felt ready for a real out-of-space adventure. That said, it does move to Earth for the second and third act, and it's that stage that it sort of slows down. It does take place in 1995, and so the way the world creating on Earth is fun and it's enjoyable, but in no way is it as impressive as the alien worlds at all. Nowhere near as impressive. By the third act, I actually found I was getting a little bit disengaged and finding Earth being a little bit of a drag. So yeah, it has all the good hallmarks of a good Marvel film, like your standard structure, your comedy mixed with good action, mixed with some real good person, human moments. I don't think you're going to find in this film any just cause to call Captain Marvel or Carol Danvers a Mary Sue character, simply because it really is a story of her growing and developing. The problem is when it gets to the end, and she does seem very fully formed. The rapid onset of her ability with her powers is very fast at the end, and that's where I start to find some real problems with the film. But my biggest concern about this film is that we end with almost the same problem as any Superman film. And if you haven't heard of the Superman problem, it's this. How do you make a threat big enough for Superman to engage the audience? Superman's so powerful, he's almost a god. How do you fight a god? And the reality then is you can't create a character that's so threatening that you feel emotionally invested in the story. And that's where we kind of left Carol at the very end of the film. Like, she was this super powerhouse. She eradicates threats really simply now. And it kind of rapidly happened right at the end. So this great story of developing her, trying to get to know who she was, getting to know her powers, and then suddenly she's got it, she's great, she's super powerful, excellent. And you're kind of left with this feeling of, well, I really enjoyed the film and I liked that we've got this really cool character now, but how do you now create any sort of threat that's big enough for her? And that, for me, kind of is symbolic of my major criticism of the film, is that ultimately it oversells things. Let me explain. On Earth, a lot of the humor is based around it being in 1995, to the point where it started to oversell it. It's like they had a whole bunch of really good living in 1995 jokes, and they couldn't cull them down to the select few that would really be punchy and work the story. By the end, I kind of felt like, oh, it's another 1995 joke. Oh, it's another joke about the internet. Oh, it's another joke about... And that slows the impact of the film down. So, whereas I think if they were more selective in their editing or more selective in their storytelling, you could still have the impact, but you do have to sometimes sacrifice good jokes to keep the story going. Some of it felt like it was just pulling me out of the story so that they could make a point about, oh, wasn't it funny to live in to think about 1995? There are some really great girl power moments in this. In fact, one of the best things about the film is that there's no love interest. Like, no love interest. No focus on that at all. And it's not to say that I don't want that in the future. I absolutely do. I want her to be a full developed character with relationships. But for the impact of this film, where this film was really just about her, and, you know, some of her friends come in, you've got these two really strong female characters, and they're not hung up on boys. They're just talking about day-to-day stuff. They're doing their job. This is their job. They've got a mission. They're going to complete the mission. Stuff like that's really good. Like, I think about my own daughter, and I'm really excited about her watching that. Again, though, there was some points where it was almost labored. And there's this really epic moment at the end that just sort of brings the character together. And it's this really amazing, yeah, girl moment. Like, real, this is empowering, this is awesome. But by that stage, they'd sort of done the girl power moments a little bit to the point where I was almost like, oh, okay, here's another one, I get it. But it wasn't contributing to the story. If they had been more careful about which parts mattered to the story most, I think that last final moment would have been even more rapturous in my response. I think I would have really engaged with it emotionally. I really wanted more of an impact, and I think that impact comes from clever editing, cutting down your story so that you've got the right moments that build up to it properly. There was other issues in terms of where you just go, all right, you're overselling it. You're overselling the powers. You're overselling the issue. And part of the overselling problem is not only that it draws me out of the story, but it also does a poor job of masking the twists and the turns, to the point where the twists did occur and they were not a surprise at all. In fact, I would say at no point throughout the film was I surprised by any of the parts where they do the big reveal of, oh, this is a dramatic twist, and I'm like, yeah, I knew that was happening. Like, that's not a surprise. There are really good moments. All of them are really good moments. But having them all in there kind of labors the point. And it happened in the humor. It happened with some of the political moments. It happened with some of the girl moments. It happened with some of the 1995 moments and some of the power moments. I'm saying that I don't feel I had the real engagement in the third act that I did in the first and even in the second. And I really think they had the chance to pull me into the third act and bring it home. I kind of didn't think they did that. That said, I still had a great time. I still thought it was a fun film. I still think there's some really great moments in there. And it's a film that I would be really proud to show my daughter and say, hey, look, you know, female characters don't have to be based around the guys they love. Female characters can be cool and they can be kick-ass and they rock. So for me, the overall thing is great film. Go check it out. Highly worthwhile. My only disappointment is I think there could have been some better editing choices that would have really made the film a lot more punchy, so to speak. But please, for the love of God, go check this out at the theatres. It's well worth it. But look, that's all I've got time for today. Until next time, my name's Dave Adams. You've been watching Nerds of Wisdom.